Hi everyone, my name is Max, and I'm the founder, creative director, and co-producer on Red Trigger and Red Trigger 2 by Bold Spirit Game Studio. Before founding the studio, I actually worked in the AAA industry on titles like Assassin's Creed Origins and Assassin's Creed Valhalla. As you probably already know, unless there's a big surprise, there's never gonna be a Portal 3 sadly. There's also Metroid Prime 4 and Bioshock 4 that are coming, but it's still a long way to go. What about if we take all these three series and mix them all together? We feel there's a huge public, us included, that's really itching for a new experience in the same vein of those series, and that's what we want to provide to the players. However, despite those inspirations, the game has very much its own identity, of course. Red Trigger 2 is an action-adventure game. In the game, instead of shooting portals, you shoot red blocks that are in the world. Those red blocks are called red triggers. When you shoot them, they expand, and when you shoot them again, they retract. However, you can only expend 3 at the same time, so you have to manage your energy wisely. Your energy is represented by the blue bars on your gun, so let's say I go 1, 2, 3, I can't activate a fourth one. I need to shoot one back and then put the energy in the fourth. It's also possible to retract all red triggers at once. These red blocks can be used in many different ways. The first thing that people think about is of course making platforms, but let's say you have a door that keeps closing down when you approach it, you can keep it open by putting a red block under it to keep it open, and then you can slide under. Or, let's say you stand on a red block and you activate it, then you will get propelled, and so we play a lot with physics and momentum. Every character in the game is fully voice acted, and we have some surprises. For example, we have a character voiced by none other than Shelby from the YouTube channel Girlfriend Reviews, and she brings a lot of humor into the game.
No, don't enter that room. There's spiders in there, and clowns, and tax returns. Don't go in there.
We also have a cat character named Off Guard, which will be on your shoulder for most of the adventure, and he's super sassy.
Onward, my noble steed!
What do you think you're doing?
There's really fun banter between him and the main character Red. Speaking of Red, you play as a computer virus named Red Trigger, and you try to uncover the mysteries and the dark secrets of this digital world you're exploring, through the events in the game, but also by finding audio logs a la Bioshock and scanning the environment around you just like in Metroid Prime. Through those, you'll learn about what's behind this seemingly beautiful and peaceful world. Don't be fooled by it, there's more than meets the eye, even behind the sassiness of your cat friend who has a tragic past. The game is a semi-open world. What we mean by that is that you have a central hub that will be surrounded by different biomes that you can explore in almost any order you want. Those biomes will be linear and go something like this. You solve puzzles, you gain a new ability, and then you fight a boss fight. Those boss fights are not traditional boss fights. They don't have a big red glowing spot that you have to hit 3 times, they are puzzles themselves. Your goal is to break the link between the character and the server. Then, since you play as a computer virus, you inject your virus into the biome, and then you have to do an epic escape sequence back into the hub. Now that you have a new ability, you'll be able to explore new biomes, just like in a Metroidvania, and that is the gameplay loop of the game. The main theme of the game is actually mental health, and so every biome is themed around a specific mental suffering. You can think, for example, of the brain levels from Psychonauts 1 and 2. To give you a better idea, we have, for example, a biome themed around psychosis, and so at some point, you go through a door frame, you turn around, and you see it's not the same room anymore, so it's a very trippy level. As another example, we have a biome themed around the famous FOMO, the fear of missing out. And so in this biome, there's a character that lives there that's obsessed with seeing everything there is to see. Despite the serious theme of the game, however, we don't want it to be heavy or dark, but instead lighthearted and hopeful. We have lived serious struggles in the past, and I, for example, suffer from generalized anxiety disorder, and I've had a burnout in the past, as well as episodes of depression. We think it's a subject that's still not talked about enough to this day, and is still surrounded by way too much stigma. We want the players to feel more empathy towards people that are suffering in silence, and we also want those people who are suffering to feel like they are listened to and are not alone in the struggle, and that there's hope. We also will consult with mental health professionals to make sure we approach the subject the right way, as this is very important for us. We also won't focus on specific diagnoses, but instead on feelings or symptoms like FOMO, guilt, psychosis, etc. We don't want to simplify or pretend to accurately represent a diagnosis, because each one is complex and manifests in unique ways for every person that might be afflicted by a mental disorder. We are a team composed of many talented developers and we are very passionate about this project. However, we need help to accomplish our full vision for the game, and that's where you come in. If the game interests you, you can actually play the first game on Steam for a small price, or you can get it for free with many of our tiers in our Kickstarter campaign. It's basically the prologue of Red Trigger 2, so it will give you a good idea of what to expect for the sequel. However, please note that the first game is fully linear while the sequel is a semi-open world. We chose Kickstarter to raise funds in order to make a very solid vertical slice of the game and then bring it to publishers to show that this is a game worth making and that there's definitely a public for it. Our hope is to sign with a publisher to realize the full vision we have for Red Trigger 2. However, even if we do not sign with a publisher, we will still make the game, but at a smaller scale than our current vision. Every dollar helps, and we invite you to wishlist both the first and second game, as well as share about the game to your friends and family. As you can imagine, this is an ambitious project, yes, but we truly believe we have a gem in our hands, and we will need all the help we can get to make it happen. From the bottom of my heart and everyone at Bold Spirit, we thank you for your support.